Hello, Leo Pussycat Tribe. Welcome to your reading with me, Cindy. So, Leo, doing things a little bit differently this week. Everyone's getting kind of just like a random reading. And random in terms of like I have so many different types of readings that I've developed over the years. And I'm just doing what I feel called to do for each particular sign as we get to it. And you, my friends, are kind of popping in at a time where I've just been inspired to create a brand new reading. And so I've never done it before. I've actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going a little bit on the edge here because usually when I create a new reading, I will try it out on myself first to make sure it flows and I say, okay, yeah, I can do this. I didn't even do that. I just sat down and when I was thinking about what reading to do with for you, sorry, like a little piece of my nail bothering me. I was inspired by a dream that I actually had last night. And you can go to my community channel and you can see I posted the details about it. So I've developed a reading called Your Black Swan. So the Black Swan, the symbolism of the Black Swan to me, there's two ways you can look at the Black Swan, which is in itself very, very unique. And it's how a lot of things in life are really looked at. The Black Swan, if you look at it in more longer standing traditional cultures, so I will talk more like indigenous, even like before the establishment of Christianity and more Western culture, the Black Swan was almost seen like a unicorn. It was often depicted in prophecy and fable and stories. And a lot of people never really believed that there was such a thing as a black swan until I think it was in Australia. Actually, Australia comes up a lot in my readings where I just say, hey, yo, hi, Aussies, and my New Zealanders too. I don't want to leave you out. But then a black swan was seen. It was like, this is real. This is a real thing. And it's seen as a wonderful omen. A wonderful omen. You can look all this stuff up. So it's a wonderful omen. And myself, I get from my dream, the black swan was absolutely, it encompassed beauty and everything that anyone could ever want. It was magic. It was like the unicorn of the bird world. But then more like this more of like the Western culture, Christianity, views the black swan as something bad and impure. But I often, you can see it because, well, a white swan is pure. It's white, it must be pure. I don't like that shit. I just don't like that at all. And I don't gravitate towards seeing a black swan as something evil and corrupt and a bad omen. The same as crows, where, you know, often it's depicted as that. But if you look at a crow more deeply, yes, you'll often see crows and ravens in places like graveyards where you're kind of walking a lonely path in the woods. And they're there, so you associate them with that lonely path or that the fear of death and decay in the graveyard. But they're actually messengers. They're coming to you in places where you might feel alone or you might feel scared or forgotten. Those are the messengers, spirit connecting with you, and not to be afraid with that. I see the black swan as that. So there's 3 questions that I ask in this black swan reading. I ask, well, what is your black swan? And it's the precious find in life. It's a precious find in life, and this might occur for you more than once in a lifetime, likely will, but it's the symbol of the black swan. So you may even perceive it as something on the more negative end. Oh, this is a bad omen, or this is not good for me. But yet, I really feel deeply that it is more like the avian unicorn. So the next 2 questions that I ask is the energy that may destroy the black swan. So this is either, it could be people, circumstances, energy within yourself that will steal or cause you or just a black swan to be destroyed. This is deep shit, no? It's a deep reading. Okay, and then the next one is the energy, the circumstances that will nurture the black swan. So that will help you achieve the black swan. If it's something that a realization, maybe the black swan is a realization for you about something that, you know, never was even in your wildest dreams that you could accomplish in your life, or just heal yourself in some way too. to be able to do that. So how can you nurture the Black Swan? So that's what that is. So I'm going to see where this goes. I've never done one before. I've never done a Black Swan reading, Leo, and here we are, my friends. You're getting the first Black Swan reading. I'm using a combination deck of, you have at the bottom, after the pre-shuffle, you have the perspective card. None of this matters, zoom out, common ground. Oh, I like that, because that almost, it makes me feel like, you know, even just trying to put a label on, well, what is the Black Swan? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's just a thing. It's just a thing, my friends. So I've put in, here I've mixed my Divine Goddess Oracle deck, or Goddess Wisdom, I don't remember what it's called. It's some sort of goddess deck, and my Starseed deck. I got a whole shitload of cards pulled out because I don't know where it's going to go. I have my Energy Oracle deck. I have my El Key deck. I have my Light Seers Tarot. I have a couple teeny tiny tarot. Let's just get into it, Leo. It's general. May or may not resonate. If it does, there will be an extended to this as well. The link to that is at the top of the description within this video. Your Black Swan, Leo. I feel like this is the kind of reading that will be like onion layers. And I feel like we may even pull in from the core and not understand everything in its wholeness until we get out into the outside. Or we might be starting on the outside of the onion and then dig deeper. So that will be interesting to see. What is the first card? Okay, your Black Swan. The 7 Star Sisters. Birthing Creation's Tapestry of Life and Expression. Your Black Swan are other like beings just like you. Now, this is an interesting card because this came out in the Gemini reading, and there's a deep message that wanted to come out with this. And I dug a little bit into it with Gemini, but then I felt very strongly that I needed to ground the message a little more and read the practical elements that were coming through. Not that I didn't delve into the more spiritual. This is obviously a very spiritual kind of reading. Wow. So there's a bit of a message of that was coming through. So your Black Swan is something that you will not find here in the 3-dimension, but you may see it through other people and through other connections. And the Black Swan feels very much like it's something that gets turned on inside you through outside source. So the Black Swan is in you, Leo. Your Black Swan is in you. And it sits in the egg. So in my dream, I found it first in a brown paper bag and what looked like a large Kinder egg. It looked like chocolate, but it wasn't, which is interesting because it was a brown egg with a black bird inside. And it wasn't gray like a baby swan would be. It already looked like a full-grown swan, but it was just tiny. So it's within an egg. It's an egg within you. So it is a deep truth within you. I'm also seeing like the black egg in the Wild Unknown Oracle deck. It's a deep truth within you that is turned on in different ways. So your Black Swan is also almost something that feels like in your lifetime, maybe you have one and it's in you. And it has everything to do with different levels of allowing this Black Swan to mature, like believing in your own unicorn energy, believing in your own magic. But it's triggered by others around you, and this is likely triggered by people that have a deep, deep soul connection with you, a very strong soul path with you. And honest to goodness, some of these people, you might just bump into them at the grocery store or have a very short, like physical time with them in this lifetime. But yet it could be a quick little conversation in terms of maybe you were feeling down, or maybe you were feeling like there's no hope left in humanity, or I'm never going to find good people. Like, it could be something like that. And you're in the produce section and this little old lady comes up to you and says, oh dear, I remember when I was a little kid and my mother used to make lemonade for me at a fresh line. And then it's just like this person it's almost like this person that you don't know just sees you and opens up to you, and it causes something to happen in you. It's a hope. It's a little glow of hope. And it actually, because you were pushing down your Black Swan, this little glow of hope causes the Black Swan to grow up even bigger. And you almost don't even feel the energy you felt prior to walking into that place. So some of these circumstances are what we would kind of see on the surface as very short and quick and not really much there. But I feel like people will touch you in this way, but others will touch you more deeply. Some of these will be people in your life that feel very difficult. They could be family members, they could be friends, they could be colleagues, like people that you end up spending a lot of time with throughout your days or your years. And there's always a challenge associated with these people. But what you start to kind of realize is, you know, it triggers me, but every time it triggers me, it's at first the triggers, there was probably an instant anger or rebellion or pulling away. It was just a very dramatic feeling. But over time, the more times a person's flicking at that switch, you start to realize that, no, it's asking me to look at something here and to grow beyond it. So your Black Swan is, it's something. In some ways, you are the Black Swan, too. All right, let's keep going. Okay, energy that could destroy the Black Swan. Well, now I want to change that because what we've discovered here is that your Black Swan is something inside you that will be growing throughout your lifetime. Energy that could pull this growth away, energy that could suppress this growth, energy that could pull you from your path, your flight course, that could just destroy the flight course. I mean, things like that can happen if we just don't, you know, destroy is such a strong word. Wow. All of that fell on the floor and one card was left remaining. Compassion. Oh, that's interesting. The energy that could destroy. Compassion. Your own glow up. I'm hearing your own glow up. Your own glow up fraught with others. So that, oh, okay. It's relating to, I'm sorry, I'm looking up because this card, I have to just intuitively pull it in. What could destroy or what could pull you from your path of your Black Swan is the compassion that you do feel for others, but this compassion has to be balanced, just like everything in our lives has to be balanced. I'm seeing this in a way that you are growing forward and you're growing away and beyond some other people that you do have deep connection with. They could be family members, they could be siblings, they could be people that you work with. I did see here the 6 and the 2, I did see the 8, so it could be more strongly associated with people that you work on projects with, people that you work with. Hard luck stories. I honestly see, because of the glow up, that when you are starting to kind of glow up and to grow forward, that there's others that aren't. But you have a very strong connection to them. And there could be the issue of allowing yourself to be pulled back so that others don't feel left behind or don't feel small. So you could allow yourself this sympathetics. See, and Leo is also a very strong pride leader. Like, I kind of get the energy of no one left behind sometimes with Leo too, of thinking of that. And just the Leos that I know will often can keep themselves in situations that could be kind of detrimental to them and to their growth as a bit of a self-sacrifice for those around me. But you know, when you do that, you're not allowing those other people to grow, and you're not allowing yourself to grow. So compassion, just like every feeling, emotion, actualization, physical activity, Anything that you do, it has to have balance. So you're very interesting. You are very compassionate. So I would feel that many of you that are coming here are extremely compassionate. Some people will take advantage of this. Some people may not feel like they are taking advantage of this, but they just don't want you to leave them. They just don't want to feel disconnected from you because they see you elevating, or they see you moving in a direction that they just feel like they can't go, or they're just not ready to go in that direction. So you may hold yourself back and not do this. The yin. Oh, Kan yin. Isn't that interesting? So it's making me think of yin and yang energy. So your yin, yes, is your compassion, your nurturing, you're kind of holding back. Finding yourself in a more of a feminine state, utilizing more of your feminine energy. Also with that message, knowing that sometimes you need to allow this black swan within you to like bring out its wings and show its girth, its power, its strength. Swans are really one of the alphas in terms of, I would say, water birds. I've never seen any other bird dominate a swan on a pond or a lake. They usually are the ones that dominate, yet they look so graceful. Their long necks, and they swim along like that. They look so beautiful and submissive, but they are not in any way. Don't mess with a swan, which is quite an interesting message as well, because swans are just, in that way you could see the beautiful balance between yin and yang. Such a beautiful, graceful creature. But if you challenge its territory, or if you challenge its safety, it is going to come at you, and it could break, it could hurt you big time. So falling too much into the beauty of the swan and not allowing the ugliness, what some people might call ugliness, to come out. But that ugliness protects the beauty. That's cool. Okay, what is all this? We just kind of threw this away. Spirit threw this away. Earth, learning how to be human in the world but not of it. The seas of Mintaka, seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. Earth School, life lessons, soul growth, study, higher learning, and alliance. You know, this is all very earth, except for the Sea of Mintaka. And that's bringing unconsciousness to light. So on some level, it's almost as if kind of feeling like, if I think about the swan, and I think about the two elements that we're talking about here that are discussed, the earth and the water. The swan, the air is not depicted here. So it's really about your emotions. Your emotions are the key, because it does take a while for a swan to take flight. So that also is giving me the message that, you know, your black swan is inside you, and it's something that starts off as an egg, and it could take a lifetime to mature and start to soar. But that's not that you won't find yourself in the perfect element, but because these were thrown away, I do feel like earth is not the best element for the swan. So overly grounding things, being overly, that makes sense to being a fire sign, being overly predictable, overly practical. A balance is needed here, because once you get into more of the watery, emotional, spiritual, psychic realms, that's where you really start to swim, where you really find yourself having more maneuverability. So those are the things, those emotions, those psychic capacities. I'm hearing mood swings, so maybe some of you experience mood swings. I'm hearing the word bipolar. Maybe some of you are also bipolar. But these are the things to look more deeply within yourself, and not to cover it up and not to hide it. Manage it. Alliance. I feel like alliances are really important in your life, but some alliances are meant to be thrown away. So we're going to put this back in, because still, now we want to know how you can care and nurture the black swan. How does Leo care and nurture the black swan within them? The water again. Whale and orca elders. Share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. Oh. So now swans are one of the few waterfowl that can't actually dive. They're too buoyant. So they can only really go as deep as their neck can stretch and as much of their body that they can pull down. But right, there's something here about the whale and the orca and the elders. These are two different animals in the same element. And actually, like, it feels like guidance. It feels like finding alliances in places where you wouldn't suspect to find alliances. Finding people. Oh, those light switches. Oh gosh, that makes sense. The light switches. Because I'm almost seeing a swan that doesn't have the capacity to dive deep. But utilizing these elders are coming up almost like guides, but people that might guide you here in the 3D, people that you meet, but also your spirit guides, and to share your song and your frequency of sound. Now, this also has, I'm hearing that there's another card in another deck, show the world the real you. I think it's my Moonology deck. Show the world the real you, but the message that comes in with that for me often is when you show the world the real you, those that resonate just as you do will come towards you, because there is a sense that the black swan could easily free you, and not necessarily on some levels maybe, but I think a little more strongly that these are not people that will try to specifically destroy the black swan within you. They just see you getting closer to taking flight, and they're still in the nest. So there's a fear of being left behind, and you have compassion for these people. You tend to see both sides of a story, but I feel like on some levels, you may forget your story, the importance of that. Because when you do leave some people behind on a path, because you know that you need to go in a certain direction to serve your higher good, you actually force those other people to start growing. There's a desire to follow, right? Like if you've had a young kid and you've been at the park and it's time to go. You've given them like the 3-minute warning a dozen times and they just don't want to leave. I kind of learned along the way. I mean, as long as it's a safe park and you can still kind of see them, you just start walking home. You walk home and they're going to find a way to they're coming. And you don't leave a small child unattended. I'm not guiding you to do that. Keep turning back. You can see, you know what they're doing, and they see you going and oh shit, right? But that child wanted to hold you back and they wanted to stay at the playground. Well, listen, we have to do more here than just play. We have to go and make dinner. We have to clean up. We have to do some stuff. It's getting late. You need to get to bed so I can get some sleep and look after you again tomorrow. Like, you need to move forward sometimes. And sometimes by moving forward, you cause those that have not grown to the level that you have, oh shit, Leo's going. I better look after my shit and get going. So being overly compassionate is not good for nobody. Then yeah, it's not good. So share your song. How to nurture this. Share your song. Really be yourself. Really speak your words. Really be true to who you are. Your frequency. When I think of frequency, I kind of think of, you know, starting to use your empathic abilities to feel if a situation or a group of people feels comfortable for you. Start utilizing that. Does it feel comfortable? Does this feel like my tribe? And your tribe could look so different from what you expect it to look like. So it's more about a feeling. Like the black swan. Is it pure? Is it evil? Is it a bad omen? Is it a good omen? It's about what's inside the black swan. What's at the bottom? The cosmic heart. Devotion, potency, make your life a moving prayer. Oh, that's beautiful. It's the only one in the upright. I'm hearing the Black Swan within you is your cosmic prayer, is sort of like your soul plan here on earth. What would you like to accomplish for yourself? What lessons, what difficult and beautiful lessons will you learn in this lifetime that are sort of implanted here, like almost like a microchip within your soul saying these are the things that we want to do. But every time you don't allow yourself to go forward in that path, it's almost like the microchip short circuits a little bit. And it just feels uncomfortable. You know something's not right here. You know that you're pushing a little bit of yourself down to help someone else kind of think that they're elevated. This cosmic heart, follow your heart. Follow your heart. All right, this is the energy oracle deck. Your Black Swan, Leo. Oh, the other signs are going to be jealous. You get Black Swan. You know, everyone can watch this. Everyone's got a little bit of Leo in them. Yeah, well, you got a house in the 5th house. You can just see. Even if you don't have it. Oh my God, all that for what your Black Swan is? Oh, look at this. Why does it seem so dark? I have all the lights on. It just seems so dark. It's dark outside, but I have all my lights on. Indecision. All tied up. That just feels so much like what could destroy the Black Swan for you. What could steal it? And you know, when I wrote this down, I said, steal or cause you to destroy your Black Swan. Because really, at the end of the day, you're the one that has full freedom of choice as to what you do with your life and what sacrifices you make or don't make. Not to say that we shouldn't make sacrifices, we should. But we do have to look at some point, are these sacrifices that continue long-term indefinitely and they're not serving anybody's good? Or is this a temporary sacrifice because, you know, time is more in control of something? Like, you know, just different ways of looking at that. Don't be like non-compassionate to people. And then you have the 5th chakra in the world. Boy, oh boy, this certainly feels like holding yourself back and being indecisive about it. And then that's the point where you know that you're compromising the Black Swan within you. So when you're holding back and you're indecisive, that's a sign that you're holding back some sort of growth for yourself. And then here though, look, speaking out, being open, being honest, speaking your truth, being heard, asking to be heard, and then closing off a cycle and opening something new with the world. Energy that could destroy or steal the Black Swan. Did something flip? Cause you to destroy it? Circumstance that could affect the muffling of it? Whoa. Happy family and the sun. I feel like these are things, because we're talking about things that have the potential to take this away. These with the sun is such an interesting combination. So this honestly feels like dreams and wishes, expectations about who you should be and how you should be and what you should do in your life that are given to you by your family. I mean, if you just look at these 2 beautiful cards and put them in any other part of this reading, wow, what beauty. But no, this is what, and I talked about this compassion. So, you know, this, to simplify it, you could, maybe you've grown up in a family of, you know, let's do something different. Just like doctors or lawyers. Maybe you grew up in a family of race car drivers. Everybody's going to be a race car driver. We're going to be a race car driver. You got to be a race car driver. I don't really like cars, but you know, if I don't do it. Well, if you're not a race car driver, then you really have no value in this family. It kind of feels like that. Because this is who we've always been. This is who we know ourselves to be. This is how you're going to find your fulfillment and your happiness. And if you're told that long enough as a child, you know, I see this, being in Canada here, hockey's like a huge sport. And, you know, it's fun. I like it. It's fun. But not every kid likes it. And I tried to get my own son into it. Yeah. I tried so many things. But I just keep trying. And one day he'll like something. But, right, it's just like, I thought, well, it'd be fun. Because I love watching that. So if he would do that, that would be great. And I love skating, but no. So it's not his thing. But you see a lot of kids that are pushed into doing hockey. But they're following their parents' dream. Like most of them just, you know, they might like hockey or they might like baseball or they might, you know, these things. But it's like the parent wants the child to live through them. Did I say that right? It's like the parent wants to live their dreams through the child. So this might even be too, like a family that hasn't accomplished something, but they see the potential in you that you could do it. You're very athletic or you have a good head on your shoulders. You could do this. So you need to do this because this is going to set you apart from others. There's a sense of programming that could come in with this too. So, and as a young child, you might actually believe this at first until you start questioning things about your path and questioning about what makes you feel good. What is your heart's prayer here? And then that can take a while to peel away that. Boy, the family would only be happy if you did this. Oh, it would make me so happy if you did this. There hasn't been a lot of things in my life that have brought me happiness. I've had to struggle so much. Oh, but if little Joey, you did this with your life. If little Amy, you did this. Oh, it would make me so happy. No. You know what? They have to find their own happiness. But right, like compassion, even just saying that's hard. Because it could be a parent that nurtured you and loved you. Maybe even made some sacrifices for you. It's a complicated web, this life we weave. All right. Energy that will nurture. Care for your black swan. Sharing your song, saying, you know what, I don't want to be a hockey player, I want to be a ballerina. Or no, you know what, I don't want to do anything except work part-time or charity work for the animals and like your anxiety is a trigger. Wow. Because the anxiety is leading me over here to this all tied up and this indecision. That's the signal. You're anxious. When you know you're anxious about speaking up, doing what feels like you'd always like to do or be or experience or embody the essence of, because you know you're going against the grain, that's how you're going to nurture the black swan. It's not an easy path. And you're anxious too because, well, would this orca really understand me if you're the great blue whale? Would this orca really understand me? You're both in the same watery element. You're both mammals that breathe air, living in an aquatic world. Absolutely, right? Absolutely. You're both mammals swimming amongst fish. Yeah, you're both in an environment. When I say both, just because there's two here, there's probably more than just two people involved in your life. Well, maybe. There might be one major one that is a trigger for you. But, so I'm just going to keep saying both just because of this. But you're both almost in a way living in a place where you feel like you're out of your element. But yet you're in the element. So you both look odd to everyone around you, or you think you look odd to everyone around you because of things you've already been told. Wishes and dreams from the family to make the family happy. But and that in itself is the beginning of the connection, of reaching out, identifying yourself for who you are. I don't even need tarot cards for this. This is, oh, I love it. The angel of love is at the bottom. angel. It's almost like, okay, the cosmic heart and the angel of love. It's like it tugs at the black swan within you. It tugs at this. It tugs and tugs and tugs. Until the point you become anxious about it. And I need to do this. I need to be me. I need to show who I am. I need to live my life. Oh, I love that. That was so awesome. I'm going to go do the extended. In the extended, I look at the blind spot for you. And this is all still centered around your black swan and the advice. So whatever stage you're at right now, the advice for you in that. Thank you so much, Pussycats, for experiencing this first ever new reading on my channel. Until next time, do be gentle with yourselves and your black swan. Bye.